The Sustainable Development Goals, or Global Goals, are a collection of 17 interlinked global goals designed to be a blueprint to achieve a better and more sustainable future for all. Sustainable Development Goal 14, that is Goal 14 or SDG 14, is about life below water and is one of the 17 Sustainable Development Goals established by the United Nations in 2015. The official wording is to conserve and sustainably use the oceans, seas, and marine resources for sustainable development. The goal has 10 targets to be achieved by 2030. Progress towards each target is being measured with one indicator each. India's coast faces extensive problems such as populance improvement, urbanization, and industrialization. Marine contamination is an example of physical compound and natural features of water and silt. The area which we are extensively studying is Sundargarh district of Odisha. Sundargarh district in Odisha is economically dependent on mining and industrial activities and has diverse ecology consisting of Bunai forest, Brahimini rivers, and its tributaries. In order to have a systematic approach and achieve the goal in an efficient way, the SDGs have been divided into sub-goals or targets. The first one is handling marine pollution. The increasing deterioration of water quality of the watershed is mainly attributed to the uncontrolled and improper disposal of solid and toxic waste from industrial effluents, agricultural runoff, and other human activities. This alarming water pollution not only causes degradation of water quality, but also threatens human health and balance of aquatic ecosystems and economic development of the state. A study in Talcher Industry Complex revealed that turbidity of water in Brahimini River ranges between 280 NTU to 335 NTU against the standard 25 NTU, and a fluctuation in dissolved oxygen in the region is being observed. For conservation of lakes and wetlands in the country, the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change is implementing the centrally sponsored scheme of National Plan for Conservation of Aquatic Ecosystems on cost-sharing basis. Odisha has got funds of 15 crores in the last 3 years under this scheme. Next, we come to the acidification of water bodies. Acidification is happening as 1/4 of carbon dioxide released into the atmosphere is getting absorbed by the oceans. This causes the change in water's pH, which severely affects biological processes with socio-economic impacts. Blue carbon is carbon stored in ocean and coastal ecosystems. Mangroves, salt, marshes, and seagrass beds store much more carbon than terrestrial ecosystems. Government has started a scheme. The scheme's idea is to make people's livelihood dependent on and linked to the mangrove cover. It will mean people will voluntarily come forward to save the mangrove cover. The government believes that people's participation is important in conservation of mangroves. Some of the sub-goals are not applicable on Sundargarh due to unavailability of marine water. For such cases, we are expanding our study to the whole state. One of the targets aims to sustainably manage and protect marine and coastal ecosystems. It also includes the restoration to achieve healthy and productive oceans. Decades of overfishing, pollution, port constructions, and habitat destruction have left ocean ecosystems in decline. As coasts are vulnerable to major impacts from sea level rise, erosion, storm events, and many marine systems are nearly threshold for healthy functioning, it also puts coastal pollution. The ports had been using out-of-date technologies and had substandard infrastructure. To tackle this, Pradhan Mantri Matsya Sampada Yojana is an initiative launched by the Government of India to establish a comprehensive framework and reduce infrastructural gaps in the fisheries sector. The government has allotted Rs 30 crore to modernize the state's biggest fishing harbour at Paradip in Odisha. The infrastructural development intends to modernize the coast and make them less vulnerable to destruction due to natural disaster. Another target aims for the sustainable use of marine resources, including thorough sustainable management of fisheries, aquaculture, and tourism. Marine resources, ocean and seas consolidate the 3 pillars of sustainable development and have many interrelationships with different focus areas. For sustainable management of marine resources, Odisha Marine Fishing Regulation Act OMFRA and Odisha Marine Resources Conservation Consortium OMRCC are imposed. These are the measures taken by the Odisha government to ensure the sustainability of Odisha's marine fisheries. In order to re-establish the marine ecosystem, The government of Orissa in the recent years has been releasing young and new fishery species in natural water bodies so that vulnerable and endangered species can be conserved. Using alternative energy resources and thereby limiting hydroelectricity uses, because the less energy we use, the less our climate heats up, and then the global warming and ocean acidification will be slower. But due to some barriers, it became difficult to achieve this target in time. Some of the critical barriers are unsustainable consumption and production, unsustainable aquaculture, poorly planned and unmonitored tourism activity, lack of regulation and management of marine infrastructure, and population growth. The population of Orissa by the end of 2020 was 46.35 million, but now it is about 47.2 million. Due to increase in population, the pressure on marine ecosystem has been increasing exponentially. The data about number of endemic fish species of Orissa clearly shows that their population has decreased over the past years. The major reason for this is overfishing without proper scientific repopulating techniques. Fish population, Government of India has been enforcing the uniform ban on fishing in the exclusive economic zone since the late 90s for conservation and effective management of fishery resources, which is successfully implemented with participation of the maritime states and all stakeholders including fishers, fish workers and their associations. The uniform ban on fishing coincides with monsoon period when seasons are rough and fishing is risky. The seasonal closure of mechanized fishing has certainly helped to keep in check the increasing annual fishing efforts apart from giving respite to different habitats. Based on the recommendations of the Committee of Experts and in consultation with the maritime states, the period of the fishing ban was extended from 47 days to 61 days in the year 2015. Coinciding with the ban imposed in the EEZ, the coastal states or union territories have also been implementing the similar duration of ban in the territorial waters under their jurisdiction. As of now, we have discussed some of the government schemes. Let us now discuss some of the schemes which we think are feasible and relevant to SDG 14. Our first scheme is Recirculatory Aquaculture System, integrated with vegetable cultivation. This is a form of aquaculture which uses a recirculatory aquaculture system. Recirculatory aquaculture system, or RAS, is a technology where water is recycled and reused after mechanical and biological filtration and removal of suspended matter and metabolites. This method is used for high-density culture of various species of fish, utilizing minimum land area and water. A tank is made in the backyard with big pit at the bottom. Many different fishes are to be cultured in this system, with different species at the different water levels in the tank. The system is operated with 4 air injectors, providing sufficient oxygen to the fishes and circulation of water. The sludge accumulated in the middle bottom is pumped out intermittently using a slurry pump, which can be used as manure in agriculture. Another pump of the same capacity lifts water to an overhead tank to bring it back through the 3 trickling filters, attaining both nitrification and denitrification of water. The advantages to these systems are many. It is a high-density fish culture, hence the dependence on natural water bodies for fish production reduces significantly. These systems require minimal expertise and thus can be managed by the non-working members of the society, hence generating extra income for the family. Manure generated in this process supports organic farming, which again can be an additional source of income. Our second scheme focuses on reducing water pollution by introducing cover crops. Certain plants absorb certain kinds of substances from water or soil. We can use this property in our favor. In this process, we shift the factory outlets to some distance from the water body and then plant specific crops which absorb pollutants. Iron ore industries in Sundargarh mostly emit sulfur dioxide, which can be absorbed by alfalfa plant, and nitrous oxide, which is absorbed by legumes. Similar strategies can be applied on other industries. The advantages of this strategy being, organic matter from the crop opens up the soil structure, allowing more water in and reducing runoff, hence reducing soil erosion. Filters and treatment procedures of water cost a lot, which is why industries are reluctant to implement the purification process. Planting crops is a cost-effective and low-maintenance process. In case of legumes, it also stores additional nitrogen, which improves soil fertility. Crops can also be an additional source of income for the industries. Our next scheme is open seepage farming method. Sea cage culture involves growing fishes in the sea while being enclosed in a net cage which allows free flow of water. It is a production system comprising of a floating frame of varying dimensions and shape, net materials and mooring system to hold and culture a large number of fishes. In cage culture, fishes are confined in cages constructed of wire or fiber netting suspended from a floating frame. Sea cage farming is viewed as a major option for increasing the seafood production and has been expanding rapidly in recent years at global level. The ICAR Central Marine Fisheries Research Institute, CMFRI, has projected that even if 1% of the inshore waters is used for cage farming, we can deploy 8,20,000 cages with a production potential of 3.2 million tons. Advantages of sea cage farming. This can be practiced within a range of 4 to 5 kilometers from the coast. As a result, the ships and farmers don't have to go deep into the seas. This gives the endemic and endangered species an option to grow uninterrupted. As this produces fish in high density, the problem of overfishing is also resolved. Out of the 3 strategies, the second one addresses issues specific to Sundargarh and the other 2 can be implemented across the country. They require some advanced infrastructure which the government needs to subsidize. With this, we would like to conclude our presentation. Thank you.